Orioles, Phillies, Baltimore. If you're not there, I don't know what to tell you. I'll be there on Friday doing a pregame at Pickles Pub, which is going to be a zoo. But let's talk about this. This is why I'm excited. If you're a baseball fan, you should be ecstatic. Why?
I'm so pumped.
Two of the best teams are going to be showcasing, and you have so much talent on both sides of the field. And look at it. Right now, these are two teams that are, if you're looking at statistically, take out their record, they're so good because they're actually at the top of their game when you're looking at it. The Phillies, ERA, they're up there. Baltimore is up there in team ERA. Then you're going to look at the fact that the Phillies have guys like Bryce Harper and Trey Turner. And they have guys that haven't gotten going yet, like Nick Castellanos. They got Alec Boehm that's out there having 50 RBIs. But their pitching staff, Zach, is actually what has been absolutely nasty. And I said about them being at the top. The Orioles are third in Major League Baseball with a 3.1 ERA. The Phillies are at a 2.99. And if you want to go individually then with this team, let's dive into that here for a second. Ranger Suarez, Zach Wheeler, Aaron Nola. Of those three, Ranger Suarez is the guy that's been absolutely on a different level. 1.81, but Zach Wheeler, 2.16 ERA, and Aaron Nola at 2.77. I don't even know what to say. We know about how good Corbin Burns, Grayson Rodriguez, and Kyle Bradish are, but I think you have the probables too, Zach, for what's happening in this matchup.
I was going to say probably bet the unders on total run scored.
So tomorrow we have Ranger Suarez versus Kyle Bradish. Saturday we have Taijuan Walker versus Grayson Rodriguez. And Sunday, first off, MLB botched not putting this on Sunday Night Baseball. You have Zach Wheeler versus Corbin Burns. I mean, if you are not at TV. The yard this Sunday, I don't know what to tell you, although I will say Orioles did get what next weekend is now Sunday Night Baseball. If this series doesn't fire you up as a baseball fan, like put Oriole fandom aside, like just as a baseball fan, this is two of the top teams in the league, both putting out, obviously, Phillies would probably like Aaron Nola to be pitching here if you want to say aces, but they're putting out all their stars. We're putting out all our stars, and it is just going to be two mammoths going at it. Yard is going to be jumping. Expect Philly to pack it. They are right there. They are going to travel well. It is going to be, as Ryan said, sold out already Saturday and Sunday. You can get tickets from places like SeatGeek. See the code below. But the Yard's going to be jumping. The energy is going to be through the roof. If this weekend is one of those that just get you fired up, and like Ryan said, Pickles will be a zoo. Come see me there. Yeah, it's going to be an absolute. And come see me there as well at the 105-710. I won't be working, but I'll be working, if you know what I mean.
Yeah, I will actually be working here. But guys, the thing with what's happening right now with the star power, obviously, we talked about Gunnar Henderson, Adley Rutschman playing, MVP level ball here. But I think what I'm going to be really intrigued to see in this series. Look, we talked about the Orioles being a little bit sloppy, Kevin, right? Defensively, that's something that they're going to have to clean up. You can't give good teams opportunities to go out there and have success. Is there one thing you're looking forward to in this series that we haven't touched on yet?
Yeah, I think going back to Philly's pitching staff, looking at some of these other numbers here, Philly, their staff has given up the least amount of homers to opposing offenses this season. Now we know the Orioles have hit the most homers in the MLB this season. So you have the top power hitting team versus the top power pitching staff in terms of not giving those opportunities up. So can Baltimore find a way to break through that? Or if they can't, can they be able to go out and knock in guys who are in scoring position, get guys on and bring them home in other different ways?
That's a really great point that you brought up, because Zach, you're really good at finding these things. Who leads the league in runners left on base?
Gotcha.
Because I feel like the Orioles are pretty high on that list.
You know what, actually?
So that's a really great point that you brought up, Kevin, because can the O's get on base and then push them, across the plate? Because that's kind of been one of those questions that have been asked so far this season as well. So that will be an interesting take going into the series for sure.
I already have it figured out. Do you want to know?
Yeah.
Should we know? The Orioles are actually ninth best in runners left on base. They've allowed 13.73 on base. Now we'll get the scoring position here in a second.
Mm-hmm.
Philadelphia actually is worse. They're 19th, leaving about 14.5 on, but it does feel that way of capitalizing. So now let's go to the next question here of left on base per game to left in scoring position, because this is another thing that we probably should be enlightened on. The Orioles, surprisingly, are 5th best in runners left in scoring position.
Wow.
It's just, I guess when they go cold, they just go cold. No one just gets on base.
Yeah.
I think that's the bigger part here, which then leads to Philadelphia actually leaves 3.66 runners. That's 25th worst. I mean, it's a smaller gap. The Orioles are at 3.22, 3.66. But again, name of the game, you're right though, Brad. Who can capitalize?
Yeah.
That's the name of the game here with two staffs that are very good. And if we're going to go the one other factor in here, because I had to cover this as I got ready for my notes, these bullpens, I think if we're looking at teams, they're very similar for starters. They're very similar with as far as their offensive prowess. But let's look at something that I think a lot of people are going to probably be more inclined to talk about, and that's the team bullpen, right? So right now, as we know, the Orioles bullpen is terrible. They're awful. They sit at 5th in baseball in team ERA with a 3.55 bullpen ERA. Do you guys want to guess where the Phillies are?
2.
They are at 7th, but they're only 0.03 ERA behind them. And I know people are saying, well, Ryan, ERA is an inflated stat. Okay, it's the amount of runs that they're allowing. To me, that is the most important. I don't care about the other stats of going over expectancy on balls or what the ERA should be.
Yeah.
They are what you thought they were. That's kind of how I feel. The numbers reflect it. The Phillies are just a fraction behind. So these teams are, when we look at these numbers, guys, extremely close.
Oh, yeah.
Like extremely, extremely close. So that's why it even emphasizes more that you got to be careful. Now, guy, you're right, Johnny Schwarber. Schwarber at the top of the lineup, scary.
June Schwarber, baby. He is on one already. He's gotten hot over the best. I mean, we always talk about June Schwarber. May Schwarber was unreal this year. He's hot, and he's one of those guys, like you said, Ryan, dangerous at the top of the lineup. And pitchers have to be ready from the get-go when Kyle Schwarber's up, because he does not mind first pitch of the game. He's like Gunnar. If you hang one first pitch of the game, it does not matter to him that it's first pitch of the game. Oh, I want to see a few pitches. He'll put it out of the park and next question.
Yeah.
So it's going to be fun. I'm so excited about this series.
Literally, if you're a baseball fan, what are you doing if you're not watching this game?
Right.
If you're in this series, what are you doing? If you don't like if you're like Kevin right now, just being grumpy,